Zelensky on Saturday. The Prime Minister was pictured walking through the worn-torn streets of Kyiv with President Zelensky. Boris Johnson was greeted warmly by citizens there who thanked him and indeed all of us for their efforts in attempting to combat Russian aggression. It comes as British and American intelligence are now warning that a Russian assault in the Donbass region is imminent and that further bloodshed is inevitable. Well, joining me now from Kyiv to discuss all of this is the Ukrainian Member of Parliament, Kira Rudik, who is, as you can see, in the Ukrainian capital. Kira, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Just how important do you think it was, and we saw Ursula von der Leyen, the EU Commission President in Ukraine on Friday, that Western leaders are prepared to go to Ukraine in a show of solidarity?
Hello, thank you so much for having me. The solidarity is important. The leadership is even more important. So we applaud to the visits of the leaders, and we consider them very uplifting for Ukrainian people. Because though the whole world is saying we cheer for Ukraine, we support Ukraine, when we look at the facts, we see that there is no unity in the sanctions that are being voted for. They have many loopholes. And as of right now, we still did not get the heavy weaponry that we requested. So we are looking for the ones who can step up and say, I'm the leader, I will be championing getting Ukraine what Ukraine needs. And we see Premier Boris Johnson and we see Ursula von der Leyen, we see them being those leaders, being those champions of united support to Ukraine. So the results of Boris Johnson's visit is Ukraine is getting more armored vehicles and we are getting more weapons. And this is great. But what we need is somebody to get the European countries on this to the same track. Because as I said, for the last month, European countries have paid Russia $35 billion for gas and oil. The total aid of the whole world to Ukraine is less than $1 billion. So like when we are talking about weight, like who is supporting who then? Because with this amount of cash going in, Russia will be able to afford one or more or two more wars at this rate. And the whole world will be supporting Ukraine and cheering for us. But without the real effective sanctions, it will be just looking how we are getting killed and watching the bloodshed that happened in Bucha, that happened in Borodyanka, and that is going to happen in Donbass right now.
And how do you feel about the Austrian Chancellor, who was also in Kyiv on Saturday, or certainly over the weekend, but is now in Moscow today meeting Vladimir Putin? Do you think that's a sensible thing for the Austrian Chancellor to do if it does help potentially bring an end to the war?
So let me paint you this picture. At the same time, when the so-called peaceful negotiations were conducted, from Russian side, Ukrainian side, and with the help of Turkey and European countries, at the same time, people in Bucha were tortured and killed by Russian soldiers. It was not like discoordinated, it was intentional, because Russia does not want to get peace treaty. Russia wants to fight. Russia actually wants to conquer Ukraine and to conquer Poland and Baltic countries, and they were very blunt about it. So every negotiation that is happening with Russia is usually the attempt to gain political gains inside the country of the leader who is trying to do so. We have seen this with Macron, who was playing like both sides, saying I support Ukraine, but I'm also discussing it with Putin. No result. Hopefully it helped Macron at these elections. Same thing happens with every single person who is trying to get in contact with Putin. Everybody knows that it's useless, but it probably gives people some uplifting inside the country. Look, Biden is not trying to get an agreement with Putin. Boris Johnson is not trying to get an agreement with Putin. They don't lie to themselves. They know that it's useless. They know that he made a decision to push to the Third World War and that he will be doing that. And that, I think, is an honest way for the leaders, for the politicians to go about that. When they say, no point in negotiating.
I get that point, Kira, but at the same time, President Zelensky, your president, has said he is willing to meet with President Putin. In the end, the only way this war is going to come to an end is through negotiation, through compromise, isn't it?
Well, these saying were before we have seen what happened in Bucha, before we have seen what happened in Borodyanka. Right now, I don't think Ukrainian people will accept any kind of negotiations with Russians. After what we have seen, the atrocities, raped women, raped children, destroyed homes, destroyed houses, mines inside the people apartments, even the kitchenry supplies taken away and looted by Russians. It's just, it's just inhumane what is happening there. And I don't think that after this there will be any acceptance inside Ukrainian nation on the peace treaty. Look at what happened after we told our people to get away from the east, to evacuate. Russians hit the train station where elderly and children were trying to evacuate. Like, what kind of peace are we talking after that? Yeah. It's not that they did it unintentionally. Their intention was to kill as many civilians as possible. Their intention was to beat where it hurts.
Okay.
So how is it even, like, what is the end game and the result here that we can anticipate? I don't think that there is any. We will be fighting.
Okay, really appreciate your thoughts, as always, Kira. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Kira Rudik there, who is a MP in the Ukrainian Parliament, making clear that she does not think the EU and the West should be giving money to the Russians still for oil and gas, or indeed, least of all, going to see Vladimir Putin in the Kremlin. We'll be talking about